Example number 3, and this example is to try and determine a person's stress level. So the idea here being that someone enters in, or you ask the user to enter how they're feeling, what sort of stress level they have. They will enter a number on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a very minor, low-level stress, probably normal, whatever, and number 10 being very high-level stress. So the idea to try and get across here is we're going to need something like 3 kind of if-else clauses, or whatever the way they work out, but you're going to need 3 of them anyway. So we've done 1 in the first example, 2 in the second example, and here's an example of 3. And hopefully from this little example, you will be able to see that you can have multiple if-else clauses when needed. So we start off first of all by reading the user stress level. So read in the user stress level. So I'm going to call it level or something, might be handy. And this time I'm going to be comparing this. So I need to convert it to an integer. And in there I'm going to say, right, take in my input. And I'm going to give the user a little prompt and say to them, please enter stress level. Stress level. And in brackets here, or in thing 1 to 10. 1 being low, 1 low, 10 high. Something like that. Try and give them an idea of what I'd like them to enter there. And yeah, and a good idea always is to test your program as you're going along. So I have a syntax error there. What mistake did I make? And you see, if you've gone there through your program, you might forget some of this to do it. So I'm going to have that colon in there, I think. Now I'd say we're looking. So we have this parenthesis matching up with this one. We have this parenthesis matching up with that one. I think that should be fine. Let's run it now. Yes, and it says enter stress level from 1 to 10. So I just enter. Nothing's going to happen because I haven't coded to do anything. So that looks to be working so far. I might just print out the type of the level there when I do it, just to see what the story is. So let's say 3 there, stress level, and it's an integer because I've converted it to an integer. Great stuff. So now that I've that done, it's time to determine what level of stress someone has. So I'm going to start off with my first one. Now, you have a choice here. You could go and do the 8 to 10 first, and then the medium range, and then the bottom range. But I'm going to try and do it logically and start off at number 1. So some of you are there messing around, and again, here's the syntax. If the test expression and test expression there, colon, and then the code to execute if true. If true. If test expression evaluates to true. Yeah. Okay, so my test expression starting off now, and this is where I've caught some E. If age, I need brackets here, if the age is greater than or equal to 1 and the age, so I've done a really tough one here, is less than or equal to 4. And we're going to assume, or 3 I think actually, we're going to assume that the user is going to enter a whole number. Okay, we don't have the validation done yet to be able to determine or not. Now, I have to do both of these or I'm not going to, well, do I? Yeah, I kind of do really. Otherwise, I'm going to get nervous. So what I'm saying here, if the age that the user enters is basically between 1 and 3, we're going to tell them you have a medium stress level. Oh no, maybe I'll do this. You have entered level And what am I doing there? That shouldn't be age, it should be level there. Apologies. Level is greater than or equal to 1, and level is less than or equal to 3. Let's put in their level. I'll talk about that little and statement later on in another one. So let's test that now. Straight away, let's test it. So enter stress level there from 1 to 10. Let's stop it, clear my shell. This up a bit. Run it out. 1 to 10. So let us enter in 1. You have entered level 1. Lovely. And I should also maybe add in one more thing there. You have a low stress level. So run it again. Enter number 2 this time. You have entered level 2. You have a low stress level. Let's test it for number 3. You have entered level 3. You have a low stress level. Now let's enter it for a range that's outside 1 to 3. Let's go number 4. Nothing happens because the condition did not evaluate to true. It skipped over it. And I did not give it an option of having it, well, if this one's not true, then maybe, another one. So let me add in an else clause now. So this is only going to give me a second option. A second option, else. So in fact, no, I can't really do that, else. So I'm going to say here, if. Now this is the difference. If you have more than 2, you must do it like this. I'm going to copy this line, these 3 lines up here now to make it quicker for me. Else if the level is greater than or equal to 4 and the level is less than or equal to 7, you have entered stress level, you have a medium stress level. And finally then, whenever you are finishing an else, or an if statement, whenever you're finishing it, the last one that you do will always be an else. Will always be an else. And now, I do not need to put in the check there because it should know, Python should know that it's the one that's remaining. So you have a high stress level. So let's test this out here now, and this should work. So if I enter 1, yeah, that's fine. Let's enter 3. That was the last of that range. Let's go to 4. You have a medium stress level, and that looks to be working correctly. Let's do number 8. You've entered level 8. You have a high stress level. You've entered 9. High stress level 10. And then let's enter something that is not in the range. So let's enter 0. You have entered level 0. You have a high stress level. What's happened there? Even if I put in 100 here now, watch this. If I put in 100, you have entered a high stress level. What? I didn't what? No. Well, what Python has done here, right? What Python has done is it's checked if it's between 1 and 3. Then it's came down and said, okay, if it's not between 1 and 3, what's the next one you're going to check? Else if it's between 4 and 7. It does that check. And then if it's not between that, the other else stands for anything else. Now, I am not putting in validation, but I'll show you later on how to make the user put in something between 1 and 10, and that will stop that one happening, that last one, when I put in a wrong number like 250. It just picks, you have a high stress level, it goes in the bottom else clause.